All right, and welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. I am Midnight, the host, and I'm here with Darkness
Hello.
and Mythic.
Hello.
And we are on episode 7 of Mistborn, the Hero of Ages. We read chapters 44 through 49 this week. My voice is fucking up a little bit this morning. I apologize. I'll mute myself when I need to cough. But yeah, let's get right into it. We got some interesting stuff happening, especially with Finn.
Very much within.
So, starting with the epigraph, which I believe is this is the one Mythic was really excited about
Yeah.
last week. Each spike, positioned very carefully, can determine how the recipient's body is changed by hemalurgy. A spike in one place creates a monstrous, near mindless beast. In another place, a spike will create a crafty yet homicidal inquisitor. Without the instinctive knowledge granted by taking the power of the Well of Ascension, Rashek would never have been able to use hemalurgy. With his mind expanded and with a little practice, he was able to intuit where to place spikes that would create the servants he wanted. It is a little-known fact that the Inquisitor's torture chambers were actually hemalurgic laboratories. The Lord Ruler was constantly trying to develop new breeds of servant. It is a testament to hemalurgy's complexity that despite 1,000 years of trying, he never managed to create anything with it beyond the 3 kinds of creatures he developed during those few brief moments holding the power. So what did you guys think about how complicated hemalurgy is?
Very complicated, which is,
Cool.
yeah.
Because it's gonna involve a lot of trial and error. So
Yeah, it basically sounds like it's pretty much impossible to make anything new with hemalurgy without having the knowledge from the Well of Ascension. That's how complicated it is.
I still wonder if he's tried animals.
Don't know. Sounds like he's spent a long time trying.
A long time.
But yeah, so we kind of discussed this last time. But do you think there are other creatures then that could be made using hemalurgy?
Yes. 100%.
What do you
Wait.
think?
So colas are made with normal people, right?
Yeah, with it sounds like at least what did we learn? Was it 5 people? It was multiple people. Can't remember now. It's multiple people spiked with
It's
4
5.
spikes.
It's 5. Yeah, it's 5.
5 people with 4 spikes.
Yeah.
And it has to involve the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it has to involve the skin.
Or that's just something they do now,
Or that's just how they...
Because
cover
I'm
up
wondering
what's
what would
underneath.
happen if you tried to do somebody with allomancy as a colas.
Yeah, I don't know. Because we don't know if they've ever tried using
Because
mystics or
imagine
something.
an allomantic colas, bro. You're doomed. You're fucked. It's over.
Because we do know that Inquisitors keep their powers if they were mistings beforehand.
Yeah.
And Kandra
Mhm.
can't because they were not people with allomancy beforehand, so that's kind of not really a point that can be made with them. But yeah, Kolos, we
But
don't really know.
they do get essentially.
Well, yeah, but that's the same with all
So-
hemalurgies. The spikes give you something, but as I was kind of more saying, we don't know what's going to happen with if a Kolos had a misting beforehand or multiple mistings, but we do know with Inquisitors that they are able to keep the power, and I believe one of these
Yeah.
epigraphs talks about how it expands on the power if they get spiked with the same power that they already have.
That'd be. I would have. I don't know. That's one of the things I definitely would have wanted to try out.
It may also have just been that maybe he did try and it just
And it's
wasn't.
a failure.
It was a failure, or it just wasn't worth the cost of because they're still using live people. These people might not be fatally injured, so it might not be worth using up a misting for that.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe they did do it and it's somewhere and we just don't know about it.
Maybe. So we start with Vin's point of view as she's sneaking down the stairs towards the basement. As she makes her way down, she hears the clinking of armor, so she carefully peeks around the corner once at the bottom of the stairs. There are 3 corridors, and the noise is coming from the right, so when she peeks a bit further, she sees 2 guards leaning against a wall nearby. She slowly soothes them and then riots their boredom until the guards begin yawning, and she sneaks down one of the other corridors. She felt good having to be sneaky while not relying on the mist or darkness. In the back of Vin's mind, Reen's voice tells her that her trust will likely get her killed someday. Vin ignores this, though, knowing that Reen broke his own codes to protect her from the Inquisitors. She continues through the basement, knowing that it seems to be a labyrinth of corridors and rooms, and potentially slopes upwards at some point to connect to a loading bay at the canal that runs through the city, since there's a bunch of supplies in one of the rooms that are not from the storage cache. They're not canned, basically. Vin doesn't peer into too many rooms, though, trying to move quickly through the corridors as she knows Ellen's distraction won't last forever. As she moves towards a more brightly lit area of corridors, she hears some voices. She gets to an intersection and peeks to see 2 soldiers to the left and 4 to the right. She can also hear some other groups in the distance and riots them, trying to get them angry and irritated. She then extinguishes her metals before burning duralumin and zinc and gives one hard pull on the soldiers' emotions. She hears a curse and men yelling at each other. 2 of the 4 soldiers rush off to see what the disturbance is, and Vin riots the curiosity of the other 2 to make them follow as well. So what do you think of Vin's way of getting past the guards?
Smart.
Yeah.
Super smart.
So Vin hurries down the corridor and makes her way into a storeroom that has a trapdoor. She jumps down, also dropping a coin so she knows how far down the floor is. When she hits the floor, she feels around until she finds a lantern and lights it. She can then see the door that each storage catch has, although it's been obviously forced open just enough for someone to squeeze through. But isn't sure why he didn't just have his Mistborn open it. She then slips through the opening of the door, and as she is thinking of making her way to the steel plate that she knew would be inside, she hears stone scraping at stone behind her as the storeroom door shuts. So what were your first thoughts about Vin being caught in the storage catch?
Oh. Also, why can't she just move it back again?
Because it was like blocked
Well, we
off
find
or
out later.
something.
We don't find out here.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's well, you said what my thoughts.
Yeah.
That's my thought. My thought was,
Well,
why
just
didn't
move
you?
it.
Why don't you just move it? Yeah,
Just like move it,
girl.
get out again. You know, simple.
Like if you moved it once, you can move it again.
So we then switch back to Elend's point of view as he finishes off explaining why the Lord Ruler's system of government had to fall. The people around them are trailing away, growing less interested, but Yeoman seems very interested in the conversation. Yeoman replies that the stewardship program wasn't started by the Lord Ruler, but suggested by the Canton of Inquisition, and that they had been reined in because they refused to submit to imperial rule. He also says they are the most honored servants in the Empire, though Elend replies that being a favored slave isn't a fair return for losing their manhood. They go back and forth about having choices or not in life. Suddenly there is a shout as a guard comes in with a bloodied woman. Elend and Yeoman share a glance before Yeoman shouts out asking for Vin. Elend thinks that he should leave, but then thinks that he should try to kill Yeoman to see if he is an allomancer or not. Elend jumps up on the stage and pulls out a pair of glass daggers. Yeoman calls him a thief, a butcher, and a liar, but he kind of just like shrugs. He's like, yeah, whatever, dude. And then the 2 dinner partners of Yeoman pull out staves as they're actually guards. He shoots coins at the 2 men, downing them easily, and jumps at Yeoman. He grabs Yeoman around the neck, choking him, but he feels no elementic strength or pushes or pulls. As he lets Yeoman go, Yeoman jumps at him with his own glass dagger and slices Elend in the arm. Yeoman attacks him again, and Elend feels he should have been able to dodge, but he moves with Elend, slicing his side. Elend tries to counterstrike, but Yeoman dodges it, and Elend realizes that he is burning atium, and thus must be a Mistborn.
Yeah, totally. Not a missing.
Elend instantly begins to burn Electrum, and Yeoman hesitates, looking confused. So what did you think about Yeoman tricking Elend into thinking he wasn't an allomancer and then attacking him with atium?
Because I don't think he's actually an allomancer. I think he's an allomancer.
Mistborn.
I'm sorry, a Mistborn. I don't think he's a Mistborn.
I got the same conclusion.
100%. I think he's 100% a misting of the thing. And I also later kind of put a theory together that I think I've already had together before that. So
I know. I think both. I think Darkness might have been the first one to bring it up, but I think both of you have been thinking for a while there might be a misting of atium. So if he is, that'd be kind of cool that we get to see one.
We've been waiting for that for so long.
I mean, I still believe that the mist might be doing it to them. Like that's how you create atium mistings, or mistings in general is actually what I was mostly thinking. But
so
it kind of gets concluded, or not concluded. It more concrete when they talk about later how he went out in the mist, and that's how he gained all the people's favor.
Well, that wasn't Yeoman. That was Kellyon who did that.
Oh, okay. Maybe then I was misinterpreting.
Yeah, that was Spook talking about Quellion.
Oh, about the other guy. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it misconstrued. All right.
Yeah. So Elend quickly leaves, jumping over the nobles in the room and shoving out coins without hitting the nobility so that he can push against them. Yeoman doesn't follow him, just watches with an angry glare. Heads out to the outdoor patio and leaves, feeling frustrated but glad that he found out that Yeoman is an allomancer. We then time skip to 3 hours later, and Elend is at camp having been patched up and forced to eat. He paces and says that he wants to go back for Vin, but Ham says that Elend has lost too much blood and only pewter is likely keeping him up. Then a messenger arrives with a message from Yeoman. It states that Yeoman had trapped Vin and thanks Elend for the stimulating conversation that kept Elend distracted for so long. So were you surprised that was all kind of to Yeoman's plan, this whole thing?
I don't think it was actually to his plan. I think he was having a nice stimulating conversation.
I meant in general that he expected them to
try
break into the storage catch and then being able to trap Vin.
I mean, yeah. That's pretty. I felt like he had something up his sleeve, so and I figured it wasn't going to go to plan for them.
What do you think, Darkness?
Like previous to Vin getting trapped.
No, like now, like when he got the letter from Yeoman, like had you realized that like this whole thing was kind of like, oh yeah, Yeoman was expecting it all.
I mean, I figured as soon as it happened. So
As soon as Vin got trapped, yeah.
yeah. Well, we also had our like suspicions. I'm pretty sure when
That it
we
wasn't going to
figured-
go to plan.
Yeah, when we figured that she was gonna go in, like but
Get caught, but didn't know how.
because they were like literally, I'm sorry, they were foreshadowing it like for the whole past like
Yeah.
2 podcast episodes, bro. They were like, oh yeah, we could just sneak in here, we could do this, we could do that. Every single time going in just to fucking figure out how to get in there. And then finally when it happens, they're like, nothing's gonna go wrong, and it goes wrong.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's how it usually works. Nothing's going to go wrong. It goes wrong completely.
So we then switch back to Vin's point of view as she sits with her back to the stone door. Her lantern light is dwindling as she notes that the work she had thought had been done to open the stone door had actually been Yeoman removing the metal in the door so that it couldn't be opened allomantically. She also was unable to get a good enough hold on the door to use Dual-Aluminum enhanced pewter to open the door. And so Vin notes that she had done a quick search of the storage cavern, but hadn't found the ATM, although she thinks that if it was there, that of course Yeoman would have had removed it before setting his trap, even if he didn't have time to remove the rest of the food and supplies. She hopes that Ellen left and hadn't gotten trapped as well. Suddenly, Vin hears a footfall, and then another. She worries that she missed someone during her quick glance around. She burns bronze and feels the Mistborn that she had been chasing. She kicks the lantern at the person and jumps at them with her daggers out. The lantern lands at the person's feet, and she sees that it's Irene. So, when you finish this chapter, what were your first thoughts about Irene being there?
I'm gonna be honest, I knew this was gonna happen simply because of the fucking voice beforehand. So here's where I was reading and I got really upset because I came up with the theory that he was gonna pop out there, and it was because of the voice and because I was like zoning out and shit, just thinking about like why the voice kept fucking appearing, right? Because we went like hell of a like time without it, and I got a theory, and now like I'm not even sure, but I had a theory where like. Well, actually, I'm sure because he confirms it, but he could be lying. Where I was like, what if Rain this whole time was literally like Ren or whatever? But
I mean, I'm pretty sure I stated that too at the beginning when we were having that long ass conversation. And I will say the way that he speaks about what he did, like, oh yeah, I've been here so long, and blah blah blah, started kind of making me feel like Darkness may be right about Kelsier, especially in the next part.
The fact that he can appear as Reen physically.
Yeah, I was like, okay, maybe it could be that way because like before it was just voices. I was like, okay, he's speaking to him, but like to be able to manifest the like form as well, I was like, okay, maybe Darkness has a point here. Maybe it is right.
So yeah, we had back when Zane died in book 2, we had kind of a conversation because it confirmed that Ruin was talking to Zane because he specifically said basically like, I am actually a god, you're not crazy. And we had the whole talk and I was like, oh, but Reen doesn't actually talk to Vin outside of her head because we didn't have confirmation because Zane only got talked to like out loud previously, so I kind of.
It wasn't out loud. Nobody else heard it.
Yeah, but it was always in like quotation marks, like it was being spoken out loud.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't know that. So
I did mention it.
We asked, because I asked that.
Yeah, because Darkness asked about, because he's like, oh, what if Ruin's actually Reen's voice? And I'm like, okay, well, there is the distinction. As far as we know, Ruin has only spoken in quotation marks to Zane, but Reen talks to Vin actually in her head in italics.
I'm never gonna forget the fact that you literally tried throwing me off of that.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, though, that was all we had proof of. We don't get proof
until
now.
No.
We don't.
She definitely tried to throw you off. We had a great theory, and she was like, "Oh no, they're too close. I have to find some way to throw them off." Yeah,
I just wanted to point out some facts that we didn't have any proof of it yet.
I don't know how, but I don't think. Fuck, this is so complicated. Because he says he was there from the beginning. Oh, and by the way, another thing that reinforced it is that line where he's like telling Zane like not her and like that fucking yeah, I was like,
definitely
he has history with her, so like that reinforced my prediction of this. So I was like, fuck it makes sense.
He's like, you can't kill her, she's gonna free me.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but like also it's her, you know. Like he obviously has ties with her because I'm pretty sure he could have just easily manipulated someone else. But why her? So
Mm-hmm.
and why her since the very beginning?
Yeah.
Because there's got to be something we don't know about her yet. Because if you think about it, if he was there from the very beginning, then he essentially knew she was gonna be the one.
Well, I mean, he's a god, so you know.
No, but like that doesn't explain shit.
I mean, it does if he's omnipotent.
But he's not.
I don't know.
You
They
can't
literally
read
explain
thoughts.
it. Yeah.
Omnipotent doesn't mean he reads thoughts, though. Omnipotent means he can see basically the future. He could see what would happen, and he'd be like, okay, well, if I manipulate this small little piece of this will happen
But if he
instead.
could, he
Like,
wouldn't need to read thoughts in general.
he doesn't need to read thoughts, obviously.
Well, he does because they're pretty much leading up to like defiance.
But he's knew what to say as Rin or Reen.
Well, he
Like,
essentially
with no, yeah, he essentially
spent his whole
watched
life
the whole
with her.
time. I'm saying, and I mean, he definitely seems to know kind of where most people's heads are. So I would assume he knows that there's a rebellion against him coming. That these people are trying at least, especially since if he's
Well,
watching
you would
her.
assume that, considering
If he's watching her, I would assume that he would probably be able to see that. That's what makes me kind of curious because he sees a lot of shit even before he was released. He saw a lot of shit. So how does he not know where his body is stored?
because an epigraph literally dedicated to this whole fucking conversation, bro.
Yes and no, but I know which one you're talking about. But yes and no.
Let's keep going because we will get more with Reen in its next chapter.
Okay.
So
For
chapter
sure.
45 is the start of part 4, which is called Beautiful Destroyer, and the epigraph is, a man with a given power, such as an allomantic ability, who then gained a hemalurgic spike granting that same power, would be nearly twice as strong as a natural unenhanced allomancer. An inquisitor who was a seeker before his transformation would therefore have an enhanced ability to use bronze. This simple fact explains how many inquisitors were able to pierce copper clouds. So what do you think about this increase in power when having a hemalurgic spike for an allomantic power that a person already has?
I mean, it makes sense. We pretty much also came up with that.
I mean that right there made me think about the whole earring that's in her ear right now, and being like, oh, could that be a hemalurgic spike?
That's what I was thinking when Rin popped up or whatever.
Reen?
Rin. Yeah.
Whatever his name is, yeah. I mean, you stated it yourself that Sanderson doesn't really care what we say, how the names are said.
Yeah.
Tamu.
But yeah, so apparently Inquisitors can pierce copper clouds because they were a seeker and then also get a spike from a seeker.
Wait. So there was a time where Vin I've been mixing their names together. Like that's
Who?
why I say Rin like that.
Oh, yeah, you're mixing Vin and Reen.
But there was a time that Vin didn't have her earring on, right?
There's been 2 moments where she hasn't her earring. One was when fighting the Lord Ruler because the Lord
And it got
Ruler
ripped out of her
basically
ear.
shoved it out of her ear. And another was when she was in the Well of Ascension because she had to remove all metals from her person to enter the well.
Why is that? Why is it? She has it on now, right? And she's had it
Yes.
ever since.
Yep, and then if you think about it, ever since every time she has it in, the mist doesn't seem to.
That's what I was gonna
want to
say.
See her,
Yeah.
and yet we're talking of the mist being of preservation in some
And
way.
preservation's not gonna like hemalurgy.
Yeah, so exactly, and hemalurgy is of ruin, so maybe she putting the earring in her ear makes it hemalurgic in some way, shape, or form. Because I mean, we did get a confirmation that it doesn't matter what the size of the metal is.
What does
as long
gold
as
do?
it's metal.
Is it gold?
No,
I thought it was bronze.
I think the earring is bronze.
Was there copper? Was it copper or bronze? I don't remember. I know it wasn't something like.
I've had
It's a
this question.
silver-plated bronze stud.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, what does bronze do again?
That's the seeker ability.
Yeah, copper cloud.
So that's why she can pierce copper clouds.
Yes, that's the whole point that I'm making.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
that, while she's wearing the earring, her ability is heightened, and then she's able to pierce these copper clouds. I mean,
But it like who the fuck?
you know how
Like-
crazy it would be to be a Mistborn and then just start spiking your ears with different like metals.
Yeah, but that's what I'm like confused about, because it says that in specific areas it would
It
be
has to
like
be in specific areas.
yeah. So I'm like, why the fuck the ear? Like, I don't know if that's gonna work.
I mean, but I don't know. It's exactly like you can't just obviously you couldn't just spike your ears in like different metals. But I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking about that whole thing. Like, ooh, if I just spike a bunch of shit as a Mistborn, and then I'm like,
I'm gonna look badass and also be powerful. Like,
yeah, everything's super powerful now. You know.
Low key, I would walk out looking like bedazzled all over my body.
I mean,
Come out looking like a fair chemist.
No, I would literally be worse.
Pretty much, honestly. That is very interesting.
I would start sparkling in the sunlight.
Oh god, vampire from Twilight.
Oh god. So we continue with Vin's point of view as she stops her attack, staring at Reen, who looks a bit different after 4 years, although he has the same posture and facial expressions. However, Vin thinks back, knowing that all the harsh things Reen did to her in the past had been to try to keep her from standing out and being caught by the Inquisitors. She has stayed with him because she knew he had loved her. Vin accuses the person of not being her brother, potentially being a Khandra. Reen protests to being a Khandra, and Vin asks about Tensoon, but Reen continues to deny being a Khandra. Vin hits Reen with a burst of Duralumin and Zinc to try and take him over as a Khandra, but he doesn't even stumble, let alone go under her control. This meant that he wasn't a Khandra, but she knew that he wasn't Reen either. So she attacks. Reen dodges, and Vin can still feel him burning metals, although she can't pin down which ones for some reason. Reen could have snapped in their time apart, but as far as she knew, Reen did not have a noble father like she did. So did you think at this point that it was possible that he was a Khandra, or were you just completely convinced about the whole ruin thing?
No, I knew it was in Khandra.
I knew it was in Khandra the moment after she decided to use her abilities and it didn't work. But
and also the fact that I'm pretty sure she sensed allomantic abilities before testing out that he was a Khandra.
Yeah.
And we know that, well, they can't really use allomancies.
Yeah. So Reen continues to dodge her attacks, and Vin notes that he isn't using coins to jump around. The lantern light flickers out, and Vin uses the darkness to try to attack, using bronze to sense where the fake Reen is by his allomantic pulses. However, Reen still dodges, and Vin thinks that he's using tin to hear her. Thus, she knocks over a shelf as she attacks again, but he still dodges her. She feels like something is wrong, and as she focuses on the feeling of the allomantic pulses, she realizes that she had thought at one point that this was the Mist Spirit. Vin feels afraid for the first time since being imprisoned as she asks why they have come here. The thing laughs, and it approaches without footsteps. The pulses grow enormous and overpowering as the thing speaks in her head, saying it should have known that she wouldn't be fooled. Vin asks what it wants, but the thing tells her that she knows what it wants. The thing was Ruin, and it wanted everything in the world to come to an end. So what did you think about Ruin meeting up with Vin like this?
Pretty cool.
Do you have a Miss Spirit theory? Mythic?
Do I have a Mist Spirit theory? I still think it's preservation.
Yes. But also, this kinda gives us more like of a push towards that.
What, that it's preservation?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, but I mean, I think a lot of things have been telling me like that. The Mist Spirit is like preservation, but preservation.
Well, she just literally compared him to like a Mist Spirit.
Yeah, he literally his allomantic pulses feel exactly the same. They're like a weird kind of obscured allomancy.
So I'm wondering, because I feel like it's either Kelsier, like Ruin situation. Huh? Yeah, it's just McGabber.
Sorry, keep going.
So annoying, bro. I'm about to throw him out.
Your cat is very annoying. You're not wrong.
It's either like a Kelsier, image, sort of like Ruin controlled or whatever, or it's like actually preservation being able to like take physical form now. Because I was thinking if Ruin is getting that powerful and they're meant to keep each other in balance, then preservation's gonna have to get just as powerful as well. It's gonna have to start catching up, or it could just be Kelsey being a god himself again.
Yeah, I'm still hoping for that, but like I said, I feel like you may be onto something a little bit with even if it's preservation. You might have been on something about the fact that maybe Kelsier isn't actually Kelsier, but I really want it to be Kelsier. Kelsier is a god.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, godhood in most sense in general is just the belief in like you have a belief in something and then that powers that god up kind of idea. Like that's what their whole thing is.
That's why I was basing it off maybe it is like Kelsey,
Yeah.
But
so I'm hoping it's a god because it would be real funny for it to be actually Kelsier.
I don't know his mannerisms though. Like compared to how he was in the first book, is kind of weird.
So Vin says that she's going to stop Ruin, but Ruin replies that it is life itself, as nothing can end without it. Finn asks Ruin to stop taunting her and asks why it showed up now. However, Ruin replies that it has always been with Finn. It then speaks into her head as Reen, giving the common advice that Vin has always thought was just part of her psyche from Reen's teachings. Ruin replies that it has been with Vin since her first years of life. So why do you think Ruin's been speaking to Vin all of her life?
Like I didn't ask that question like fucking what,
Yeah.
10 minutes ago. But
You gotta. She writes these long before we even have these talks.
that's true.
Definitely didn't write them half an hour ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Or I guess an hour
definitely.
ago at this point, because we've been doing this for half an hour now.
Maybe he has a crush. You know, no, that would be weird.
Maybe he has
Especially
a
with
crush.
him displaying himself as a like her brother.
I know, right?
Ew.
So interesting.
That's a good question.
What's your answer, Douglas?
I don't know. I'm literally still trying to figure out why her. Like,
Do you have any thoughts, Mythic?
Been feeling the same way. I mean, I think she's some.
I was thinking she was kind of related. Like, it has to do with her like
she's
parents or
related to
something.
Ruin.
Something.
Well, I mean, if you think back as far back when we got like a small little snippet of her mother calling her the queen, I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
it could be something to that extent. But
Her mother was weird, bro.
Her mom was insane.
another was.
I don't think she was insane though.
Oh, yeah. What if she wasn't insane?
What if she just saw too much? You know?
Maybe she was being spoken to Ruin too.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think she would have been spoken to her.
Maybe Rowan was trying to get her to open it first.
What if she was just gobbling down?
I mean,
like,
think about that though. Like, right? Vin couldn't have been the first. There's no way.
Well, the question
There's no
is,
way.
could he have been able to escape before the Well of Ascension refilled? Because if not, then he would have had to wait until basically now to get someone to do this. Although he may have tried to kill the Lord Ruler in the past, so it would have been easier
That's what
in
I'm
the
saying.
future.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But,
saying.
yeah, he probably couldn't have had anyone
She
go
could
to
have been the
well.
first he tried to manipulate and
wait,
doing
why?
something to this. So.
I may be blanking right now, but why the fuck could he not escape after like? Why can't he escape when they drain the power?
Because I mean, that's kind of explained a little bit later here in one of the epigraphs. I'm pretty sure about the fact that the way he was sealed.
Yeah, I think this is actually like this next epigraph that we're about to read.
Yeah.
Should we go into that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Alright, so chapter 46 epigraph. Ruin's escape deserves some explanation. This is a thing that even I had a problem understanding. Ruin could not have used the power at the Well of Ascension. It was of preservation. Ruin's fundamental opposite. Indeed, a direct conversation of these two forces would have caused the destruction of both. Ruin's prison, however, was fabricated of that power. Therefore, it was attuned to the power of preservation, the very power of the Well. When that power was released and dispersed rather than utilized, it acted as a key. The subsequent unlocking is what finally freed Ruin. So yeah, so apparently he couldn't escape until the power was basically dispersed, because then it wasn't kind of contained around him.
What? You see, this is where I was like I read it and then I was like, I can't think too much about this one because I don't understand it. I don't. And I was like, hopefully they explain it to me.
So think about it this way, right? At least this is how I gather it, right? Think of it as if preservation casts a cage around, him in general, his presence or whatever, right? Casts a cage, and because he is the polar opposite of it, he is repelled constantly from this cage, meaning that he will never be able to escape that cage because he is never able to push out of it. You understand magnetism, right? How each one, if you take something that is different, like two different things, they attract. Where if you took two things that are of the same, they're going to repel each other constantly. And because, in my opinion, my thought is they're one of the same, like they're the same creature split in two, kind of idea, the same god split in two. They would both be the same power, just like different versions of that power. And so, because of this, that cage is always repelling him, and until that cage is removed, he can't get out of that cage. And because he can't do anything himself, and then the others that are basically his power also can't do anything of that, it makes it so you have to have somebody else come into it.
I understand that part, but why does letting the power go act as removing the thing?
Because I think it kind of like, instead of keeping it like all contained in one spot, it's basically dispersed throughout the world. So like it's kind of like spread thin, so he's able to like break through the bonds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a much weaker force around him.
That's kind of weird.
I think it's kind of like that. It's a little difficult.
I was just thinking because like it would make more sense if you took the power for yourself, because then it would be like absorbing what's keeping him caged. But then they did talk about how that he like the Lord Ruler did only take like or absorbed one power, right?
Mhm.
Like one tap of the powers of like the Well of Ascension or whatever.
He took the power of preservation and used it for like a couple minutes, and that's all he got.
Yeah. So,
Which also doesn't make sense to me, but you know.
yeah, that's what I'm like.
Yeah.
If you're taking the power of preservation, then that's depleting, you know, like the fact that like that's the power that's like fucking keeping him there. So like how is he not like out if it's like getting used?
I think it mentioned in like previous epigraphs that you can't really fully consume the power. The power is the world, like in everything. So like you're basically taking it for a time, but like you can't really use it up. That's why it always comes back. Like you can't fully actually use it because it is everything.
Ever.
Yeah, you can't ever fully use it.
So what makes it so different from absorbing the power like that and still not being able to disperse it enough to like get rid of the cage and just like dispersing it in general?
I think again it's because it's like concentrated in this one area, whereas if you like set it out, like you're like somehow using the power to like force it outwards in a way. I'm not really sure how to explain it. it's a bit confusing.
That whole thing, if there's not a better explanation for that, that feels like too iffy for me.
Anyway, so we switch to Say's point of view as he and Breeze discuss Spook in the storage cache under the Canton of Inquisition. Breeze was eating some of the canned goods as he was tired of rations, and Sayes didn't complain since he doubted Breeze can make any sort of dent in the amount of canned goods stored here. Due to what had happened, the citizen now had guards patrolling the streets and a group of soldiers outside the ministry building that they were staying in. Sayes worries that the citizen had connected them with Spook. Alrian asks why Spook hasn't come back yet, and Breeze says that Spook likely doesn't want to be seen coming to them. Sayes also says he might not be able to get past the soldiers and into the building, but Alrian says Spook was able to sneak into the burning building, so he should be able to sneak into here. She also says she wishes Spook had snuck out of the burning building like he was able to sneak into it, but Breeze replies that a freedom-fighting vigilante means that you need your enemies to see you burst out of a burning building with a child that they are about to burn alive.
Yep.
Sayes also notes that they ignored Spook too much and that he isn't so young anymore. Sayes brings up how Spook shouldn't have been able to survive his fall from the roof to the street without breaking his bones. Breeze suggests that maybe it was staged, but Sayes doesn't think so. Breeze asks if Sayes thinks Spook was secretly a Mistborn the whole time, and Sayes just replies that he doesn't know. Breeze replies that he refuses to believe Spook could have hidden that from them, and Sayes agrees in his mind that Spook isn't the deceitful type. He also wonders if there are any records of a Misting becoming a Mistborn later in life, but he doesn't have his copper mines on him at the moment. He then thinks that there is no reason to check his metal mines as he knows there are no mentions of a Misting becoming a Mistborn. So at this point, why did you think Spook hadn't come back yet? Because we find out what he's doing in a bit, but...
Honestly, I thought he was off, like, you know, doing, like, what he's supposed to do as the quote-unquote survivor of the flame.
He's off saving people.
Yeah, he's like in a little adventure, you know, just like doing what he needs to rescue people. But you know,
where did you think he was, Vic?
I don't even remember what I thought when this was originally. I don't think I even thought about it.
All right, that's fine.
I just figured he was out doing his own shit.
you see, like he's supposed to just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that after you already know where he was at, so...
Yeah.
Bro, oh my god, I cringe so bad.
He's so cringe! I know why you're sad. That's the biggest cringe moment for me for Spook. It's always thing I think back at.
The worst thing is that I read that in the Batman voice.
That's how I always read it too.
I feel like I missed something here, because I don't know what y'all are talking about.
We'll get to it in a minute.
You're talking about when we get to when
he meets up with Beldre, and he's like, I know why you're sad, Beldre.
Yeah, okay.
I know why you're sad. As he comes out of the mist.
I know why you're sad.
I think that's what everyone talks about is like the biggest like cringe Spook moment is just
I imagine him like, you know, in those like movie scenarios where they're like reaching out from like the darkness with their like arms out and they're like hunched over just like creeping out. That's what I imagined when I read that.
Yeah, I literally, when I was writing these notes, I went to Jesus and I'm like, Jesus, I got to the I know why you're sad part. He's like, oh god, the spook talk with Beldre. And I'm like, yes. He knew instantly. But yeah, so Sage goes over to his room, which is sectioned off area of the cavern by hung sheets. Inside is his portfolio on a table, as well as his sack with his with all of his metal mines. He ignores his metal mines and sits at this table, opening his portfolio to a religion about the Nelizan people who had worshipped the god Trell. This religion was one Sage had been partial to, and it was all about learning the study of mathematics and the heavens. As he reads, though, he sees holes in its doctrines. The teachings of the afterlife were sketchy and vague, with just responses to any questions being, "Ask Trell and he will answer." Sage puts the religion to the side, not casting it out completely, as he feels he isn't in the right mood for studying. Sage wonders if maybe it was possible for a Misting to become a Mistborn, as they obviously hadn't known everything about allomancy, as they used to think there were only 10 metals until a few years ago. He also wonders if Spook was taking drugs, and that was why he had eye coverings and could survive the fall. Just taking all the drugs, dude. So do you think Sage is going to figure out what's going on with Spook?
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to find something out, but I don't know if it's going to be the exact thing.
So here we go. We then switch to Spook's point of view as he tells Beldre he knows why she is so sad. Beldre turns to look at him in shock as she hadn't seen him. He says that he had thought it had been about the gardens and mentions that he knows that they must have lived in noble society once. She looks shocked and he says that he knows that her brother is a coin shot. She takes a step back from him and Spook continues to talk and says he doesn't believe she is sad about the gardens. And he next thought that it was about being excluded from her brother's meetings. He says he understands the feeling of being left out. Do you think Spook should have revealed that he knew Kellyanne as an Allomancer? Do you think that was smart?
I don't think it would matter at that point. Because she already knows that he's trying to kill him, so it doesn't matter.
Fair.
Yeah, in all honesty, that's the L part. The whole "I'm gonna kill your brother" thing. I'm gonna kill your brother! Okay, thanks for telling me.
I'm gonna kill your brother, but also I know why you're sad.
You're so beautiful. I know why you're sad, Beldre. I've been watching you this whole
Okay,
time.
First off, do we expect anything else from this man when he's literally did pretty much the same thing to fucking Vin?
That's true, he did.
Followed her around the entire time like a little puppy dog, and then he's
I
like,
like him for that.
"Oh man, I'm gonna totally do this again," because I didn't learn my lesson the first time.
Spook he struggles with women. Okay.
I think it's cute, Loki.
Yeah, he's definitely a teenager that hasn't gotten out of that phase yet.
He's 20 now.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't gotten out of that phase yet.
Oh gosh, Spook.
Oh my god.
He's almost your age, Darkness.
He's the same age.
I thought you were 21 now.
I'm 20!
God damn it. I'm so bad with your age. You're too young. It all
We've
blends
literally
together.
discussed this every fucking podcast at this
We
point.
do not. So Spook then says that being left out would only have led to frustration, not sadness. He steps forward and tells her that he had never killed until today, even though he had helped topple empires. He says he understands her sorrow, but is trying to figure out why she feels it. Beldre says the guards are watching, but Spook replies that there isn't any, as Kellyanne has sent too many out into the city. Kelsier tells Spook to kill Kellyanne and that he deserves it. However, Spook thinks that he can't do that today, not in front of her. Do you agree that Spook should have taken this opportunity to kill Kellyanne?
Yes. But also, at this point is where I was like, maybe Darkness's ruin theory is right, because he's so adamant about him killing him, and I'm like...
Every Kelsier interaction has been like, hey, you should kill Kellyanne. Hey, you're gonna need to kill these guards. Hey, you should go kill this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, a lot of killing, man. Like, what's going on? I mean, I understand in, when he was Kelsier, that's pretty spot on, but... little overpowered here right now.
Okay, but maybe Kelsier's just salty,
He's like, how dare this guy talk like he knows me and go around killing Ska? Fuck this guy. So Beldre asks if he just came to taunt her, and he says he can't understand her. Spook replies that he saw her guilt when she watched the people be marched into the burning building. He says she feels sorrow because she feels like she should have been able to stop her brother. Spook then says she can't stop him as he's been corrupted by power. He says that Kellyanne may once have been a good man, but now he kills people and threatens Allomancers so that they will work for him. Beldre calls him a simplistic fool. Spook says that he's killing children just to cover up the fact that he's gathering Allomancers. Beldre tells him to go, and Spook asks her to come with him as he's planning to overthrow her brother. He tells her that he is part of the survivors' crew and that Kellyanne will hardly be a challenge compared to the Lord Ruler. Beldre tells Spook that she'll start screaming, and Spook tries to convince her that if she joins them, maybe there will be a more peaceful way to get Kellyanne to stop. She, however, does start screaming, and Kelsier tells him to go kill Kellyanne before it's too late.
I will say, the moment he said that, oh, you just join us, and then we can find a peaceful solution to your brother instead of killing him. I'm like, all right. First off, you just gave her the perfect plan. She's gonna come in here and just infiltrate your entire operation, and then just relay it to fucking her brother. Like, the fuck is? What are you doing, dude?
Whoever Spook then flees, leaving Kellyanne alive for now. So yeah, what did you think overall about Spook and Beldr's conversation?
I mean, I didn't think it was as cringe as you guys think it is, but I mean, I also understand the whole teenage mentality of.
It's mainly the first line where he's like, "I know why you're sad."
I know why you're sad.
Just that one line. Like, the rest of it's not as bad, but that one line.
He has been for like this last bit, like thinking that he's much better than he actually is. So I mean, it doesn't shock me that he would just come out and be like, "Hey, by the way, I know why you're sad," and then just give a bunch of theories on why she's sad.
What did you think, Darkness, about the conversation?
It was interesting.
I feel like she had a pretty normal reaction to the whole thing. She was like backing away.
Yeah, I was
like,
so
I'm
confused.
Screaming.
Yeah, if somebody did that shit to me, I would be like, okay, like.
They're like, I've seen you in the gardens every night, not being part of your brother's conversations. You're like, okay, you've been stalking me. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way to somebody's heart, right? You just stalk them and get to know them from a distance, and then, at some point, once you've gathered all the information that you need, you go in closer to them and you go, hey, by the way, I've been stalking you, and here's all the information I know about you now.
Yeah, I understand.
Are you impressed?
I'm gonna kill your brother.
That's the other one. Yeah, that's another great way to get to somebody's heart. I'll kill your brother. Okay.
It's good times.
Great.
Maybe he's just spicing
That's how Jesus got you, right?
Oh yeah, no, that's why I don't have any siblings, because he killed my brother. He just
stalked you at the campus? Yeah, he just stalked you at the campus, and then he was like, hey, I've seen you from afar for a very long time, and I know everything about you. You go to this class, and that class, and this class.
By the way, I killed your brother.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, your brother that you had, yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. That's why I have no more siblings.
You're like, oh my god, so impressive. We should,
right?
Get together.
And then 10 years later,
Almost 10. 9.5.
And then 10 years later.
Or wait, 8.5 or 9.5?
Midnight.
8.5. 8.5 years.
Midnight.
Okay, I was gonna say.
It was 2015.
If you said, oh wait, maybe it has been 10, I was gonna be like, how do I know your relationship better than you?
No, it's 8.5 because it was 2015.
Oh god, 2015. God, you guys are such babies.
Oh my god, that was like 20 years ago.
I
know. That's crazy.
Anyway, so we move back to Say's point of view as he stares at his metal mines that are all laid out in front of him. Most of them were drained from the fight back in Luthadel and were rings, bracelets, and clasps. However, the most important ones were 4 copper bracers for his upper and lower arms, the largest of his metal mines. Sayes thinks about how, when he had been young, another ferochemist had read out his full copper mines so that Sayes could store them himself. The Keepers had stored all sorts of knowledge, but most of them had tried to find information on their own religion, which had been destroyed during the chaos of the Lord Ruler taking over. Sayes wonders what would have happened if they had found their religion, and then thinks that probably nothing would have happened. He glances back at his portfolio, noting there are only 50 religions left for him to review. As he works on polishing his metal mines, he wonders what the point of looking through the last 50 is, when none of the others had given him any insight. Breeze is also in the room with him, claiming he couldn't sleep while Spook was still out there. So do you think Sage is going to make it through all his religions before the end of the book?
No, I think he's going to get balance. He's going to become balanced, and then, he'll just have all the information he needs.
What do you think, Darkness?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I have this feeling of I know how you guys feel about him and his actions and all that shit. But in my eyes, this is a chance for him to redeem himself. To me specifically.
I see.
So,
I mean, that makes sense. But I think, in all honesty, I think he's going to find, as he goes through these religions, he's going to end up actually finding the religion of the Terrace people. But, and then he won't have to look through the rest of them because he already has the religion they're looking for.
Joke's on all of us. He is the religion of his people.
Honestly, that would be the worst case scenario because this man's not a leader.
He doesn't need to be a leader. He needs to be a religious figure.
He needs to be a god, like you said, Mythic.
I mean, he is a god already. He just doesn't know it. Okay, this man has been a god since the start of this entire series.
So Breeze asks why Sace polishes the metal mines that he doesn't wear anymore, and asks why he doesn't just wear them. Breeze also implies this is about Tyndwyl, but Sace says it's not. Sace says that when the Lord Ruler fell, he went out teaching, and it had gone very poorly. He says no one was interested in his teachings of past religions. He says that what is stored in his metal mines is of little use to people. Breeze asks if Sace doesn't wear the metal mines because he thinks they are useless, and Sace replies that it is more than that, as wearing the metal mines is to pretend that he thinks the information in them is of use. He says that wearing them is like a betrayal, as he is not ready to believe as he did before. Breeze says he thinks Sace is wrong, that struggling in the darkness like they are now is exactly when they need knowledge. Breeze also asks if he truly believes that no one is watching over them. Sace replies that he has yet to decide. At times he has hope, but on days like today he finds that hope to be distant. He says that he is not sure that they can fight the darkness, or that he wants to fight it. Breeze looks concerned at that. So what do you think about Sace kind of feeling like he wants to give up at times?
Oh, he sounds almost like he's human. Oh god, a god is becoming human.
Sace?
What about Sace?
No, were we talking about Sace?
Yeah, we're talking about Sace.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that makes
god,
sense.
Sace.
Sorry, I started zoning out because I was thinking about some other stuff.
Wow.
But yeah,
Do tell.
I was just thinking about like what it means, like all the like key phrases, like the sliver of infinity and like balance and all that.
So an earthquake suddenly comes, and Breeze looks up at the ceiling, stating that he wonders if hiding in a cave is really for the best. Sace replies that they don't have much choice. Breeze asks if the quakes are coming more frequently, which Sace replies that they are. Breeze states it must be that maybe this region is just more prone to them, but he doesn't sound convinced. Gorodel then rushes over, telling them that Spook has come back. Breeze and Sace get up, hurrying over to meet with Spook near the entrance of the cavern. Spook instantly begins giving orders, telling them that they need to start spreading rumors in the city about the Allomancers that Kellyon is using and how he is keeping their families hostage. Spook then asks Sace if there is a way to revert the canals to flood the streets. Sace says that it could possibly happen, and Spook tells him to use his metal mines to get the engineering knowledge to do it. Sace hesitates, and Spook tells him they don't have much time, that he's going to expose Kellyon for being an Allomancer himself, and that it should be enough if they give the people someone else to follow. Sace then asks Spook what he is hiding from them. How did he survive the fall from the building? Spook replies that he isn't sure he can explain, as he is still trying to figure it out himself. He says he will explain eventually, but asks Sace to trust him for now. Sace looks into Spook's eyes and can see that he cares. Sace thinks that as long as he doesn't use his metal mines to preach religions, he isn't being a hypocrite, so he agrees. So why do you think Spook just won't tell Sace what is going on?
Because Spook doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
I mean, even if he doesn't really understand it, he can still be like, hey, I can now use pewter.
I mean, he also did try though, didn't he? When he was like talking about Kelsier, and then immediately was like kind of almost shot down without even realizing. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, and I'm like, if you try to like explain that shit to a man who literally was like not even like giving you a chance, like.
Yeah, like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot there.
And what do you think is gonna happen with like Spook's plan? What do you think his like full plan kind of is here?
I don't think he has one.
I think he does. Create dissent. Create a problem that he'll have to use his allomancy to solve, and then it would out him immediately to everybody. Without him actually having to just go around and be like, "Hey, he's an allomancer." Because nobody's gonna believe him. First off, I mean it's a rumor, but if you prove it by making them, actually, use their ability, then. Nobody would, distrust that because they saw it with their own eyes.
All right. So, chapter 47, get more stuff about Ruin in the prison. Ruin's prison was not like those that hold men. He wasn't bound by bar. In fact, he could move about freely. His prison, rather, was one of impotence. In the terms of forces and gods, this meant balance. If Ruin were to push, the prison would push back, essentially rendering Ruin powerless. And because much of his power was stripped away and hidden, he was unable to affect the world in any but the most subtle of ways. I should stop here and clarify something. We speak of Ruin being freed from his prison, but that is misleading. Releasing the power at the well tipped the aforementioned balance back toward Ruin, but he was still too weak to destroy the world in the blink of an eye as he yearned to do. This weakness caused by part of Ruin's power, his very body, having been taken and hidden from him, which was why Ruin became so obsessed with finding the hidden part of himself. So
what if that body is Vin?
But he knows where Vin is.
But what if he doesn't know it's his body? What if that's why he's so like affixed to her without even realizing it?
Or what if he simply just can't take it?
Can't take the body yet. He has to do something. Yeah. He has to corrupt her. Oh, that would. That would be an interesting tidbit there, yeah.
Because this makes me want to go back to that like point of like, what if like he needs? I know this is gonna
What?
start that shit all over again. But what if he needs it to be like willing?
A willing? Oh god,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. There's
Or like,
definitely
what
gonna
if she
go
just
down that
needs to
road
be
again.
spiked, bruh?
Maybe. I mean, she is spiked in technicality. If we're thinking of the earring being a spike.
Well, more
If we're not
spiked.
thinking, yeah, you're saying like actually spiked with like a powerful thing or whatever, like something
Yeah,
that Ruin gives
because
her.
it has to be more than one spike for that, right? No,
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Oh,
Does
I
he?
don't remember that being a stipulation for hemalurgy, but possible.
Yeah, we don't know much about hemalurgy except the exact conditions kind of for Kandra and Kolos. We don't even fully know the exact conditions for Inquisitors because they have more like
So
they
many
don't seem to
fucking
have like a
spikes.
specific amount of
Yeah.
spikes as far as we know.
I thought that was 8.
Well, there was a certain amount that they normally had, but they've also been getting more of them and stuff. Like it
Yeah, I
doesn't
mean
seem like
he's
they have.
making another creature. He's making another creature, but you know,
Hmm.
that's my thought. Remember 16.
Yeah.
After.
But considering they can get more, we don't know what like the minimum number of spikes technically they need is. We just know how many the Lord Ruler generally gave them.
8, 16, 32, 64.
That's not how it works.
I mean, just a theory. A Mistborn theory.
No.
So we go back to Ellen's point of view as he stands in the mist staring upward. It had been 3 days since Vin had been captured. He thinks that he shouldn't have let her go, though, with such a risky plan, or go through with such a risky plan, and also thinks that if their positions were reversed, Vin would have found a way to save him by now. Yeoman hadn't sent any word since telling Ellen that he had captured Vin, and he thinks that Vin will figure a way out of this. Ellen thinks
God damn, get your words right.
Sorry. Ellen thinks about how Vin had grown to distrust the mist, but he finds the mist to be calming and gives him confidence.
I wonder why she mistrusts the mist.
He thinks that he should probably trust Vin's instincts over his own, though. Do you think Ellen should trust the mist or not?
I think Ellen is on the right page. I think Vin's crazy. The mist is their friend.
Fuck. Ellen should be besties with the mist, right?
Wait, he's not already besties with the mist?
No, clearly he's besties with what's his name?
Ruin?
The general.
Gorodel?
Oh,
Or Demo?
God.
Demo.
Demu, yeah, Demu.
Demox.
Demox, yeah, Demox, yeah, that's it.
So Set is then brought over to him, and he asks if Ham is around, which Ellen replies that he is dealing with some fistfights that broke out in the ranks of soldiers. Set replies that the men are restless and that they are like Kolos in that if you leave them too long, they'll fight amongst each other. Ellen, however, thinks instead that Kolos are like men, and they should have seen that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Set then says that Vin is as good as dead, and Ellen replies that she isn't, and thinks that she'll surprise Set. Set then says that Ellen is in denial, and asks if they are going to attack to try to get her back. Set also says that they need to stop the siege as they won't last long, considering they are now on half rations. Apparently Set had been sending...
Shocked me.
So apparently Set was sending out raiding parties to nearby villages to try and get food and supplies, but the villages are also starving, so the raiders are coming back empty-handed. So what do you think about the villages nearby starving? Do you think this is like on purpose, like Yeoman's keeping supplies from them so that the army can't get supplies, or do you think they're just, in general, the whole area is just starving?
I think the whole fucking area is just starving, bro.
I don't see the way that could be a plan, but I mean, it could be. He's pretty much thought out of everything else, so.
That is true.
Him and his seer powers, you know.
Oh! I was just thinking, like, what if he...
Are you on the same wavelength as me? I bet you were.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay, go on.
I was like, what if he's, like, a savant of, like...
Yep, that's my thought, too! Yep. I was like, the way that he just, avoided all of Ellen's attacks and shit, I was like, what if this man actually has been using this power so much? Which also then made me think, okay, what if the ATM was in that stash in the bottom, and he's just been constantly using it,
Yeah.
I still hope it's in the trust though, because that just sounds really fucking funny. He trusted the Kandra with the with the ATM.
What does the ATM do for Kandra again?
As far as we know, all it's done is they get paid
It's
in
currency.
ATM.
Yeah, it's currency. Yeah. At this current moment, that's what we have.
We have not gotten a single hint of ATM anywhere in the Kandra chapters.
No.
All we know is they have
It's-
trust,
Not that I have.
and
it's gonna be in the chest. You know?
That's right. Where else would it be? I mean, even if it wasn't the ATM that he's hiding, what if it's the ATM that they've been paid with?
Yeah, it's in the chest vault. You know.
So Ellen then asks if Set thinks of him as a bad king. Set replies that he does, but that Ellen has something he didn't, that people like and trust Ellen. He says that the men are influenced by Ellen, and that one of the raiding parties even felt so bad for the people of the village that they stayed to help them water fields and do repairs on some of their homes. Set says that when the world is falling apart, even he would rather have someone to trust instead of fear. Set says that he no longer thinks that a siege is a good idea. Then Ellen hears another fight break out and sees Demo step in and try to stop it. However, instead, Demo gets punched in the face.
Yeah, fuck you, Demu.
Ellen curses and pushes himself over to them and sues the people fighting and yells at them to stop. Ellen demands for one of them to explain, and the one standing over Demo says that they're cursed and that they are the reason Vin got taken. He says that he finds it hypocritical for them to speak about the survivor and that he is tired of listening to them. So what do you think about the men not respecting or wanting to follow Demo as their general?
That made me upset, especially when he got punched. And I'm so satisfied with what's supposed to happen to him now.
That happens to the guy
I
who punched him?
I want you to execute
Yeah.
that man.
Mm-hmm.
Execute him.
I was like, please
Jesus
be an
Christ,
execution.
Ellen.
Please be an
I was like,
execution.
Jesus Christ, Ellen, where the fuck did that come from? Of all people to say execution was the first option. Oh my god.
Well,
I got so
apparently
happy when he said that.
Yeah, apparently it's the law that if you attack your general, you
Man
get
makes the
executed.
laws. He's the emperor. He makes the laws.
To be fair, that's like fucking treason at that point.
So Ham then
Yeah.
shows up, and Ellen nods at the fighting men for Ham to take away for reprimand. Ellen then helps pull Demo to his feet, and Demo says he should have expected that. Ellen says that this whole Mistfallen curse thing is stupid, but Demo replies that the men are looking for someone to blame their bad luck on. Ellen tells Ham that the men struck Demo, a general, and thus they need to follow the law and execute him. Ham replies that he had to break up another fight between some men and some Mistfallen as well. Ellen then tells Demo to gather about 300 men around the number of Mistfallen and go back to Luthadel to support Penrod with the riots. Ham tells him this is the right thing to do, and Ellen replies that it isn't, just like it isn't right to execute that man for one lapse in judgment. However, he needs to keep his army together.
I agree.
Ellen said,
One lapse in judgment, not worth fucking assassinating a man
No,
for.
off with his head.
But darkness, on the other hand, does not believe in it. So
Ellen then says that Set is right and that the siege isn't working. Ham says that they should ask what they should do, but Ellen isn't sure. So do you think it's a good idea to send away the Mistfallen for the sake of the army sticking together?
Yes and
no. Yeah, I say no, not really, but
I would say yes, because I have a feeling they're gonna be able to develop, some sort of affinity towards something while they're away. And then that's gonna, help us realize that they're actually powerful for some shit. Something's gotta have happened to them, bro.
Any other thoughts, Mythic? You just kind of said, no, you don't believe it's a good idea?
too many ATM mistings. Sears all around.
Oh no.
That's what I think. I think that the people who don't actually feel like they have Allomancy right now, they're all ATM mistings, and he's gonna send them away, and I don't know how, but they're gonna somehow get ATM, and one's gonna swallow it, and they're all gonna be Sears, and they won't even know it, and then they'll just
imagine
be
they're
like,
just like,
this is how the world is,
Imagine they're just like eating ATM, and they look around and they're like, I see shadows everywhere.
So Ellen makes his way to Norden's tent. Norden was still awake as he generally keeps odd hours, and he stands and bows to Ellen.
One second. I'm sorry. The way you said that, darkness, made me think of a really funny scene that might happen, right? Like, let's say Ellen's about to be like attacked, and Demu over here was just like, Ellen, left, and he just like moves, and like the sword passes him, and he's just like, how did you know? I don't know. I just saw it.
So Ellen goes to Norden's table where he finds maps of troop movements and bands of Koloss. He thinks that yeomen refuse to be intimidated by his forces, so he wonders if they can turn the odds back against him. So what do you think these maps regarding the Koloss troops are going to help with?
Planning.
The maps are the maps what?
The maps that Norden has. So he'd been tracking like where their troop movements had been as well as where the Koloss had been moving.
Honestly, would that even help?
Ellen seems to have an idea with it.
I mean, it helps with like knowing your enemy. So,
Alright, and we got chapter 48's epigraph, which is, once freed, Ruin was able to affect the world more directly. The most obvious way he did this was by making the ash mounts emit more ash and the earth to begin to break apart. As a matter of fact, I believe that much of Ruin's energy during these last days was dedicated to those tasks. He was also able to affect and control far more people than before. Where he had once influenced only a few select individuals, he could now direct entire Koloss armies. Did you have any thoughts? Really sure much of a question here.
I mean, I kind of figured that's what he was doing. So.
Rashek for president.
Okay.
Man obviously knew what he was doing. Everybody else just didn't understand his genius.
So we go back to Vince.
Is this the chapter where we get the her looking at the thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because that's where I was like, oh man, he really was a genius.
So we go back to Vin's point of view as she thinks about how much she regrets knocking over the lantern, as she had been in darkness since. She had tried to salvage it, but the oil had spilled. Sometimes she felt the pulsing of Ruin near her in the cavern, but other times it left, although Ruin made sure to talk to her in Reen's voice to let her know that he is always with her. Vin also thinks that not everything Reen said in her mind was Ruin, since sometimes Reen responded to her thoughts and Ruin was unable to read her mind. So what do you think about Ruin spending so much time with Vin?
He still has plans for her.
For sure.
Yep. Something. He's got something cooking up for sure. Maybe it's the whole willing thing that Darkness has been talking about. Break her and make her willing to, give.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Her body.
But also,
So,
sorry, I was just thinking, him, to take control of her. So, even if it's unwilling, so it makes sense that he just keeps her, there, trying to either make her see his side or just make himself seem as not too much of a big deal.
He's not a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Guys, just come on over to my side.
So
over here. We have cookies.
You know what would be cool? If he somehow used Ellen's image.
Oh God.
And he's like, I could be Ellen if you need me to.
Oh God.
So that would just be weird.
That would be cool. That would be funny.
That'd be more cringe that Sanderson.
That would be cringe.
Yeah,
that's where I got the idea from, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know what makes you sad.
It is this guy.
Then I know what you need. You need to leave this man.
You just hear a zipper.
Oh God.
Oh God. Man, I'm usually the one that does that kind of shit.
Anyways.
Now I got Darkness on here going for it. Damn.
Anyways, each time Ruin spoke to her, it gave her clues about Ruin's nature, and she wonders if it will help her defeat it. Although she also wonders how she can defeat something like Ruin. Although she also reminds herself that she killed the Lord Ruler, who everyone had called a god. She thinks that Ruin can be contained, and also wonders if Ruin had somehow influenced her with emotional allomancy in the past. She also thinks about how Zane had heard voices and thinks that he had spoken to something just before he died. He could have been insane, but also he could have been influenced by Ruin. Vin also thinks that Ruin must be hindered in some way since he hasn't destroyed everyone and everything yet. It was limited to direct means of destruction like the ash and light-stealing mists. She wonders what had trapped Ruin in the past, since Ruin had already been trapped when the Lord Ruler stopped Alendi from releasing Ruin, as she had eventually done. She also thinks that the deepness isn't fully connected to Ruin, since it had started killing people and coming during the day before she had released Ruin, and also in the past it had come before Rashek got to the Well of Ascension. So, we kind of talked about this before, but do you agree that the deepness is not connected, or at least not fully connected to Ruin?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Vin then thinks about how she had explored the cavern and that water barrels had been removed, but the food and supplies were mostly left in here. Vin had eventually been able to open a can of stew with a rock and pewter, but it had been difficult, as Yeoman had removed any tools to open the cans. She had opened 10 cans of food and had little pewtered left. The stew also did little to quench her thirst. She was starting to grow hungry as well, since she had gone through most of the opened food, although she was good at avoiding hunger. Vin wonders if Ruin is speaking to Yeoman as well, and if it was Ruin's plan to trap her here. She also wonders why Ruin chose her to go to the well this time, as last time it had made sense to send someone like Alendi since it was a hard trek up through the mountains to get to the well. Vin then makes her way to the metal plate on the wall and feels for the words and the map, which really isn't a map this time, just a circle with a dot in the center. She didn't know what the circle and dot meant, and the text was equally frustrating to her. So what do you think about the circle and the dot? Do you have any ideas what those might represent?
Nope. I forgot all about that, to be honest.
Darkness?
What shape is Luthadel?
I have to look back at the first book. I don't.
Because in my head, that's just a circle. So.
Do you think it's like
a circle?
You think it's
Luthadel with the well in the middle?
I guess, yeah. I need to go back in this book and just look at the maps.
Yeah, this book doesn't have a map of Luthadel because we don't really spend any time there. It only has a map of
Wait,
Fadrax.
what? We don't go back? Oh no! Spoiler.
I wonder why we wouldn't go back.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my god.
I'm not
Midnight
saying
out
we
here
don't go back.
spoiling
I'm saying
things.
we don't really spend much time there.
Exactly,
What? We
don't
don't
go
spend
back.
time there? What?
Oh.
It's because we don't go back, huh?
Gosh.
Exactly. Spoiling. Midnight the spoiler.
Anyways, the Lord Ruler's plate this time talks about how he had failed and that he is dead if anyone is reading this. He talks about how Ruin talks to him through his mind, making him think he is mad sometimes. He also talks about how he has made mistakes when first getting the power and also possibly through his rule. Rashek also wonders how much of his original ideas have been twisted due to all the rebellions that kept popping up. He wonders why they can't see the perfection of his system. Rashek states that he has no advice to give and he is a god, yet there is something greater than him that claims to have created the world and will destroy it. He says that maybe the caverns will help humanity live a little longer and that the thing's powers are not complete as he had hidden its body well. So what did you think about this this last message from the Lord Ruler?
Kind of wish he would have given a will and testament, you know?
I'm back to look at the fucking maps.
What did you think about his message here?
I mean, it was interesting.
I mean, it made me feel bad for him, to be honest. I was like, man, this man tried his damn best to stop the end of the world, and
And he got murked.
and he got murdered for it, you know? But granted, also in that same vein, he could have explained it. You know, bro, you can't do everything by yourself. Talk to people. Tell them, hey, by the way, there's this thing. Even if they don't believe you, that's the other thing, right? Sure, at first, when you don't have, like, you know, influence, they're not going to believe you. But, like, you had so much power. You literally could have been like, hey, guys, here's the down low. There's an evil deity of some sort that is in this well. I am the only thing protecting against it at this current moment. I need help. My one head is not good enough. Yeah, he had the priest, but like honestly, what priests knew anything of this? Like that's crazy to me too.
I mean,
like I feel like he
inscribed these
would've
plates apparently knew.
Yeah, but I mean, like you know, did he have him killed off immediately after? Like,
Yeah, we don't know.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we haven't gotten any confirmation of any actual priest that knew anything about this aside from just him saying, "Oh, well, I did say," you know.
So Vin finds this plate infuriatingly unhelpful. She thinks that there must be a way and wonders about the last line, about hiding Ruin's body. Suddenly, Vin hears the door to the cavern opening. So, who do you think is opening the door to the cavern?
The main dude. What's his name?
Yeoman?
Yeah.
Do you agree, Mythic?
If he is, it'd be really stupid on his part.
Who do you think it is, then?
You know, this is gonna sound so dumb. But it would be funny if, like, you know how what was that? The picture in the wall or whatever? The map?
The kind of map with the circle and the dot?
The circle of that thing, yeah.
What if the Lord Ruler's like, I'm bored, let me just draw a boob?
Wow.
Oh god.
I'm sure.
Oh my god. I love the simplicity of stuff that can just be interpreted like that.
I don't really know, but like I said, if it is him, it's just that'd be stupid on his part because she's not fully out of all of her tricks yet.
So do you think it's someone coming to try and help her then?
No, I don't think it's going to be anybody trying to help her. I don't think it's anybody on her side.
Okay.
Unless it's somebody from the city specifically that is trying to help her. But like, oh, I know who I could think of it would be that would be on that side helping her. What was it? Slow Swift? Is that what the fuck this? Yeah. Is that what his name is? That's the only other person that I could think of that would be like.
Slow Swift is coming to save her?
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. That's a far-fetched idea.
Maybe if he's convinced by Ellen's ramblings to Yeoman.
Possibly. Or he tricked Vin from the start, and he's here to gloat, you know.
So we've got our final chapter now, chapter 49. Our epigraph is, one might ask why Ruin couldn't have used Inquisitors to release him from his prison. The answer to this is simple enough, if one understands the workings of power. Before the Lord Ruler's death, he maintained too tight a grip on them to let Ruin control them directly. Even after the Lord Ruler's death, however, such a servant of Ruin could never have rescued him. The power in the well was of preservation, and an Inquisitor could only have taken it by first removing his hemalurgic spikes. That, of course, would have killed him. Thus, Ruin needed a much more indirect way to achieve his purpose. He needed someone he hadn't tainted too much, but someone he could lead by the nose, carefully manipulating. What did you think about the fact that Ruin wasn't really able to get anyone that would be more under his control to save him.
Great failsafe on Preservation's part, that's for sure.
What do you think, Darkness?
I kind of gave up trying to figure out his powers. I generally, it's so frustrating to me.
So we go back to Say's point of view as he works on his diagram of the waterways. He notes that the Lord Ruler hadn't needed to do much to get the waterway to flow into the cavern, as some water had already been coming down here, and he just expanded the opening. There were also mechanisms put in to stop the water from draining out of the cavern. Sayce thinks that he just needs to stop the water from flowing into the cavern so that it fills the canals again. Then taps his copper mine for a book about water pressure. Once he has the information he needs, he starts writing down calculations for how he could block off the opening. He finds it hard to deny that he is a scholar as he knows that he would rather study than do anything else. Reason arrives, tapping a cane that he doesn't need to use but carries it to look gentlemanly. Sayce puts his information back into his copper mine as Breeze sits down and tells him that he missed his calling based on how well he's doing on these engineering notes. Breeze asks if Sayce can really pull it off, and Sayce replies that it is possible and goes on a bit of a tangent about the canals. Sayce apologizes for going on about it, but Breeze says it's good to see Sayce excited about his studies again. Do you also think it's good to see Sayce focusing on his studies again? Do you think this kind of plan is going to help bring him out of his depression a little bit?
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, Loki.
I think he needs to get out of his depression, that's for sure.
He needs to be working on something that's kind of more time consuming, and this is something. Instead of having all this free time to just look at his religions.
Look at my religions.
He needs something to keep his mind off his depression.
You know, I really want the ash mounts to actually be more than just ash mounts.
I mean, one of them was a volcano.
Yeah, but like, I was looking at the map and I'm like, what if it's just them being in a circle and in the center one is like, you know, the one. That's like reaching, so.
So Sayson mentions that he feels guilty for enjoying his studies because he prefers it to being a leader, which is what Ellen did by putting him in charge of getting the city. Breeze replies that being in charge doesn't mean doing everything, but making sure that others are doing what they need to be doing. Sayce replies that Tyndall wouldn't have wanted this of him as she respected leaders, but Breeze replies that she fell in love with him as he was. Breeze replies that Sayce needs to focus on what he is passionate about, otherwise he'll just end up miserable. Sayce thinks that this wasn't just about Tyndall, but also about how being able to study the waterways meant he could put off studying the religions that threaten his worldview. Sayce then brings up Spook, worrying about him, but Breeze says that Finn was just as young when she killed the Lord Ruler. Breeze also says that he thinks this is good for Spook to show some determination. He also says that Spook is showing it to be similar to Kelsier, and maybe this can work after all. So do you think Spook is going to be able to do for this city what Kelsier did for Luthadel?
I think he thinks he's going to.
I think he actually is. It's the path of a survivor, you know?
He is the new survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Spook then comes over to Breeze and says that he feels like they should have been attacked by now. Spook also explains that he took control of the city by going out into the mists and stating that anyone faithful to the survivor would be safe in them. The fact that the mist started killing people just helped him. Kellyan declared anyone who survived the mist to be pure and then started killing the nobles. Spook then also mentions that the nobility seemed to be immune to the mist sickness, which is news to Sayce, and Sayce wonders if Ellen knows of this connection. What do you think about the nobles being immune to the mist sickness?
Because they have the blood of the whatever the fuck.
Alamancers?
Yeah,
The blood of
that's it.
Christ.
Yeah, the blood of Christ, it compels you. That's crazy though. That's crazy though. That's like a Salem witch thing. Of hey, let's go put you in the mist, and if you die, well, you were bad. If you were good, then yeah. Oh. But then immediately after that, flipping and being like, oh, but by the way, everybody who's noble, we're gonna kill you.
Even if you survive the mist, if you have any noble heritage at all, you're dead.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
it would make sense if. I think genetics definitely plays in this.
Do you think maybe like the farther they are from having noble blood, the more likely they are to die or something?
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
Spook then reiterates that Kellyan is a bully and he's surprised that he hasn't found any assassins coming for the yet. Sayson mentions that Spook should get some sleep, as he's previously noted that Spook didn't seem to be sleeping much. Sayce thinks that Spook may be burning pewter to stay awake, but wonders if he's just looking for any sign of what he had previously wondered about. Spook then asks about Sayce's work on flooding the canals, and Sayce talks about how he has an idea for a system to block the opening with some supplies that the Lord Ruler had left, along with some rubble from when he'd caused the bigger opening. Gordel then comes over and says that the citizen's sister is looking for Spook. So were you surprised that Beldre showed up?
Nope. Like I said, the full plan that I have set of the fact that, oh yeah, you're gonna tell me your whole plan? All right, cool. Let me go talk to my brother, and then he'll tell me to go to you and basically double cross you, and yeah, fucking stupid.
Were you
Sounds like
surprised,
fun.
Darkness?
Tiny bit, I guess, because I didn't expect it to be like. I didn't expect it to be like during these chapters where that would happen. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't expect it to happen so soon, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we then skip to the group meeting with Beldre inside the Canton of Inquisition. She says that she isn't here to join them. Breeze asks why she is here then as Spook paces. Sage thinks that Spook believes this to be a distraction for an attack. Beldre replies that she's here because they want to kill her brother. Breeze tries to say that they aren't here for that, but Spook replies that Beldre isn't stupid and that the whole city knows why they are here. Beldre also says she doesn't believe they'll hurt her as they are part of the survivors' crew. She also says that her brother thinks that the crew just rode on Kelsier's popularity and claimed to be his friends but weren't actually, which shows how much he knows about the fucking survivor.
100%.
Spook then asks for them to meet outside the room without Beldre, and once away from Beldre, Arian says she doesn't like her, although Breeze dismisses this. Breeze says that he thinks Beldre is very frightened, and both Breeze and Arian agree that Beldre was raised as a noble. They then go back into the room, and Beldre asks if they've decided to listen to her, as she has to get back soon. Spook then asks Breeze what will happen if he spreads rumors of the citizen's sister joining them. Beldre says no one will believe that she deserted, but Spook asks if she talked to the guards before coming in, and she says she didn't. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, of course, running past the guards to come join us. That's gonna look great for you. Beldre wilts, and Sage thinks that she is really naive and sheltered, although he wonders what Kellyan would do when he learns that they have his sister. Although he also thinks that it would look bad for the citizen to outright attack them. Beldre says they can't do this and asks what the survivor would say about this. And Spook just replies that he would probably suggest the very same plan. Which, yeah, probably. So do you agree that it was naive of Beldre to come here, or like Mythic, do you think this is like actually her plan in a way?
I think it's her plan.
You know, it'd be funny if it's like a all rain breeze situation.
Where she's like actually a bit more manipulative, and like her and Spook are gonna get together.
But like she's there, you know, like she's not really supposed to be there. Like she doesn't really have ties besides that one person.
I see.
But she's like there.
Do you have any thoughts, Mythic?
I mean, I already said my thoughts.
Yeah.
So she's there to manipulate the whole situation.
Yeah.
I think it was she spoke with her brother, and then her brother was like, "Ooh, we can use this," you know.
So yeah, that was the final chapter. So I've got some overview questions now. So the first one is, what do you think is going to happen now that they've captured Beldre? Do you think, as for like Mythic side, do you think that they're going to do an attack, or like what do you think the plan is, or what you think is going to happen?
Repeat the question.
Just what do you think is going to happen now that they've captured Beldre? Like what's all going to happen?
Like, they actually captured her.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what's supposed to, like, what's going to be the difference? I thought she's going to give anything away from her brother. Like, anything, like, real.
What if she's also an ATM misting?
What if she's an Electrum misting?
Oh, God. She's the opposite of her brother. Oh, no.
Her brother's a coin shot, potentially.
Oh, yeah. Wrong person.
You're thinking of Yeoman.
I always think of that.
No, they're siblings, too. You don't know that.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. I don't know why I think that. Like, because I think it's just because of the fact that, like, he's noble in blood, so I'm like, oh yeah, he's definitely got this, you know. But yeah, no. It would be funny though if she was on Electrum misting. Man, I didn't even think of that.
So do you guys also think then that she's misting like her brother? Because they were raised in noble society.
I do think she's an Allomancer in some way, shape, or form. I just don't know what Allomancer, I guess, is the best part.
Did you have any other thoughts, Darkness, about what's gonna happen here? Or no?
Nah, bro. Like, I don't really care about her, to be honest.
My next question was, do you think Elend is going to do something while Vin is still captured? Like, is he going to do, like, an attack on the city? Or is he going to, like, try and sneak in? Like, or is he going to keep waiting to see if she can escape herself?
Ask the question again? That confused the shit out of me.
Do you think Elend's going to do something about Vin being captured?
Oh, to save Vin? Oh, okay.
Like, is he going to, like, try and save her? Or is he going to, like, just attack the city? Like,
I think he's going to attack, and I think he feels like she can handle him herself.
I think he's just going to keep going down the path he's doing, you know. He already made the comment about how she was willing to give him up for whatever, so.
It really, like, it's really, well, it's not surprising, but, like, it's really, like, throwing me off how fucking aggressive he's becoming.
It doesn't seem like the normal himself anymore, yeah.
Makes you wonder.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you think he's Ruin or something?
No. That would be so dumb. No. Ha 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 ha. It'd be cool though if at the end it's like Vin is like ruin and then Ellen's preservation, and
Didn't I
then
have this? Didn't I make this theory at some point?
I
Well,
think
thought
we
you said
both just like
you
talked
said
about it.
Saves was gonna be both.
Yeah,
And then
no,
I was gonna say
but
Sage was like gonna like.
I was pretty sure I made a comment that like they were gonna have like their like get the bodies and then infuse them into. I'm pretty sure my thing was that it was gonna be Marsh versus Ellen. Ellen's gonna die, then Vin's gonna take the power. Vin's gonna kill Marsh, but
Hmm.
I think
'cause
Marsh
I
is
still
gonna
don't-
do it himself.
I
He's
don't know. I still think Marsh
finally gonna be able to do it.
I think Marsh is just the body that he is going to take over for momentarily at times.
And my final question is: do you think Vin's gonna be able to escape from
Yes, 100%.
Roman's place?
What do you mean? They're literally opening the fucking door.
Well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean she's gonna be able to escape right then. We don't know what's happening.
I don't know. Yeah.
What if it's another trick by Ruin?
Nah, she's definitely gonna escape. She's
Can't
not
have
gonna
the
stay there forever.
yeah, can't have the main character, die in a hole.
Can we?
I mean, can if this was like Attack on Titan or something.
Oh my god. It's gonna be Tensoon.
I didn't even think of that.
It's
Ooh,
gonna be Tensoon
Tensoon's
opening
found her.
that fucking door.
I didn't even think about that. That'd be
Tensoon's
pretty
gonna
cool.
rescue her. Yeah. And he's gonna be like, mother.
we didn't get
My
any
siblings.
Tensoon chapters this episode.
Exactly. I wonder why. He's gonna go tattletale all his siblings to his
I
mother.
mean, she asked about him too. That was the other part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She straight up asked about him to Ruin,
Where's
thinking that
Tensoon?
Yeah, she was wondering if he was a Condor. She's like, I need to speak to Tensoon. He should be like back at your homeland. Have you heard anything about him?
I was
Yeah,
right
I
now.
love-
Been like,
love
Tensoon's dead.
The fact that the fact that she was thinking about him was just pretty funny to me. I was like, damn, I would have thought she would have like given up on that.
Well, she's worried about her friend.
She's worried about her pet dog.
Yeah, exactly. Her
They're
pet.
friends.
No, they're not.
They are.
No, it's a mother sibling thing.
Mother son.
Mother sibling.
Mother sibling, yeah. Mother son dynamic.
All right. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about this episode? Any other theories or anything?
No.
Darkness.
I don't think so.
All right. So
I have the theory that darkness is going to be wrong on everything again.
So next episode is going to be chapters 50 through 57. It'll be 8 chapters.
Jesus, so many chapters.
I know. Yeah, 50 through 57. Look forward to that. And thank you to everyone for listening. We really appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.